You mentioned that Islam is not a religion that necessarily dictates equality, rather it commands justice. And there is a difference between the two. Just explain for the viewers what you mean by that kind of difference between justice and equality.
So equality is where two things are made to be the same. They're made to be equal. And justice is what the scholars define the word justice as, is wad' al-shay fi mawdi', putting something in its proper place. So to put something in its proper place may be to put something lower than something else, or to give something more than something else. But that would be done in a way that is just, not in a way that necessarily means that one for one and one for the other.
Yeah. I think the example that I often come across is in the dunya, for example, which nobody would deny, is the food that an adult eats is not the same food that a child eats. And it would be equal to give them the same food, but it would also be very dangerous and very harmful. So I don't think that's really a concept that anybody can really dispute, particularly when we apply it in matters like that. The second thing that you mentioned was that, or one of the things that you mentioned was that both men and women, when it comes to the rulings in Islam, they have been it's their obligation to submit to them. If it comes from Allah and His Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, you have no choice but to submit to it. And of course, that's from the root word of Islam as well, submission. And the final thing you mentioned is that it's not right for any gender to want what the other gender has been given by, of course, Allah and His Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And of course, that doesn't apply just for genders. It applies throughout the dunya, throughout the world. People are given more wealth than others, and it's just it's not going to be very time efficient to really just wish that you had this kind of wealth, that you've been given something less than that.
Exactly. Make use of what you have been given, rather than wishing to be somebody else.
Okay, let's go into some of the more specific questions. And I know you mentioned, and this is something that you have an opportunity to expand on, the issue of inequality, because a lot of women really do feel that men have been given this superior status above and over them in the religion of Islam. And this is something that they admit this is from Allah and His Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but they do question why. And it does often, it makes them feel like life is difficult for them. And of course, there's a couple of ayat in the Quran, الرجال قوامون على النساء, and another one, وَلِلرِّجَالِ عَلَيْهِنَّ دَرَجَةٌ وَاللَّهُ عَزِيزٌ حَكِيمٌ.